Hello people, welcome back to another video. Today I'll be bringing you episode 2 of the Every Situation series, and I'll be covering dashing in the air. Disclaimer, my name right now is still Ramen Manray, and as I always do, I will be looking at how to prevent you from dashing to the guard. However, with air dashing, there's not many optimal ways to do it, because you can't really cancel out of this dashing animation until you hit the ground. So one thing you can do is just switch, like that. But it's not very safe and you're having to switch out. So indeed, there's not many ways to get out of the situation if you are dashing in the air. Right, so let's talk about when you dash into the guard. So as you can notice, you kind of bounce a bit off the guard. And during that bounce, you can do Chakra Shuriken. You see how I'm doing this and I'm still safe. So after you bounce, Chakra Shuriken. It's a very safe way to deal with this. And also, if you have one of the good shurikens, like for example a Fuma Shuriken, you can lock the enemies down, preventing them from attacking you. This is good because they can't counter you, they can't do anything. If they try to do a jutsu, you cancel it out with the shuriken. If they try to dash, if you're fast enough, you can still catch them out. And yeah, you will be safe. You see, the recovery frames are very minimal. Now the second thing you can do is a air jutsu. That's if you have one. If you don't have an air jutsu, I'm afraid you can't do this. Well, obviously. But this is probably even a safer way to do this. You're doing a whole air jutsu at them. Now you have to be careful if using Pain or Naruto, because their air jutsu happens pretty close to the guard. And if somehow the enemy's fast enough, they maybe can interrupt it. But still, it's very unlikely they will. So if you have an air jutsu on your character, make sure to use it. It's very good for pressuring. Like this. Guard break. And obviously, if you don't have enough chakra, go back to the shuriken. Now this is one of the reasons why this Naruto is so good. He has the Air Rasengan and Fuma Shuriken. Now let's put switching in that. I have already talked about how you can switch out of the animation like that, but you can also do this. Now it's even better if you have a character with an air jail. Like this. You see how he's falling from the guard? Anyone with a falling AC1, you can do this with. Like Healing Sasuke, Shisui, those kind of people. So you dash in, bounce off, do that. After that you can carry on with your combo. Alright, next is probably my favorite, but the most costing. So this is what it looks like. As you can see, the absolute pressure on the guard. And as I said, that will cost you quite a bit of resources. Now let me show you what it looks like. So as you can see, you lose half a support and a bit of your chakra. So I wouldn't use this a lot, but it's very good for pressuring. Now let me just go over everything once again. These are the things that you can do when you bounce off the guard with an air chakra dash. Chakra Shuriken, air jutsu, switch attack. Oh, in the middle of doing this, I just forgot that I missed one. Now this one isn't really practical, but I'm gonna show you the situation anyways. So it's this, like that. I mean, it's not the most useful thing in the world. I mean, it's an option, so I'm gonna show you. But yeah, carry on with the summary. Once again, the switch attack. And lastly, jutsu into switch attack. Alright, moving on. This part is if you can't do the guard bounce. You know, if you can't react fast enough to the guard bounce, so you know that, you can do on the ground, like that. However, that's not very safe, as you know. Not very safe. Like, I'm stuck here for a while. And since you're only throwing a shuriken, they can recover faster than you. So the best thing you can do is probably block after that. This is where you have to use switching. If you watched the last episode, this will look very similar to this, but just with air chakra dash. But yeah, it's pretty good for pressure, especially if you have Fuma Shuriken. And next, if you can do a Chakra Shuriken, it means you can do a jutsu. So once again, pretty similar to the last situation. Now the disadvantages of doing this on the ground is that they can interrupt you. For example, if you do this, they can interrupt before you do the jutsu, if the full jutsu comes out. If you're just doing the normal jutsu, they can interrupt you pretty easily. But if you switch, you're safe, and even if they interrupt you, you can, you know, counter attack or just move away. So once again, switching comes to save you. As you can see, it's pretty slow. Now lastly, this requires you to read your opponent. If they're just mashing after you dash into the guard from the air dash, you can counter. and you can counter pretty fast. So if they like to mash, counter. If they mash sometimes, but other times they don't do anything, then you can do this. This is good because if they don't attack you, you can move away because you're switch countering. So you have no recovery frames. And also, if they do attack you, you're counter parrying them. So once again, going over everything. Chakra Shuriken, Jutsu, counter. Right, there you go. That's air chakra dashing for you. Moving on to the next dash, we have air dashing. Like this. Now, as you can see, this dash is pretty slow. So if you're doing this just in the neutral, they will be able to read you and counter you very easily. So one thing you want to do is cancel it. But before that, let's just talk about some switch tech. You can do this, which is pretty good for pressuring. I'm ninja moving because it makes it easier to do the switch tech. But you can do it on the ground if you want. However, if you're moving around, it's quite hard to just do it on the, on the run. But this is pretty easy. All I'm doing is ninja moving and then switch jump jump. Now, of course, if I'm talking about ninja dashing, I have to do the RTA. So that's also a very good way to use the ninja dash. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's get into actually when you hit the guard. But one more thing, how to cancel it. Now, this is easy. Just have to do a shuriken. You cancel it straight away. Any shuriken is fine. You can do chakra shuriken if you want, normal shuriken if you want. So what we can do is bait counters, just like that. They might counter, and you can get free pressure off. So yeah, use this very well to cancel your dashes, so the enemy can't counter you. Now, something really weird happens if you do it up close. If you're far away and you dash into the guard, you can't actually, do anything. But if you do it up close, sometimes you can. Like that. So you see how I hit the guard, but I still can do the shuriken. I don't know why that works, but it does. Alright, now actually moving on to bouncing off the guard. First of all, you can't really do anything, as I showed you. No, nothing really cancels the falling animation from the bounce. Unless you switch, of course. But in Evo, if you dash into the guard, you can do a chakra shuriken. So one of the only things you can do is switch attack, or switch shuriken so you can get safe, or just switch anything. Anything that cancels, the animation works. But if you don't do anything during that time, you're very vulnerable. You see how long that takes me to recover? So you got to make sure you either switch out or you cancel it even. Canceling is even better than just hitting the guard. Hitting the guard is the worst thing you can do. Do anything to not have that falling animation. But now if you dash into the actual character, you can do a chakra shuriken. Or even items. But I really don't like doing air combos, so I probably just would do this and then continue with pressure. So there you go, some options for ninja dashing. Let's go over them again. Cancelling it. Switching out of it. Last thing for the offensive side, dashing into the guard in the air has different variations, but they all have the same outcome. So you can have the same responses to all of them. They all work. For example, if the enemy's in the air and you dash into them, the same things still apply. I can still do a chakra shuriken. I can still do an air jutsu. Here are some other examples as well. Alright, first section, I won't be able to show this because the bot doesn't like jump chocolate dashing. Sometimes it does it, but not many times. So I'm just going to be doing it just by talking to you. So when the enemy air chocolate dashes at you, like this, the thing you can do is attack. After bouncing off your guard, the enemy will recover slower than you do. So if you attack, you'll catch them off guard. However, obviously there's a risk of getting countered. A better way to do this is switch attacking. Or you can simply just wait for them to counter, attack. This is if they do counter though. If they don't counter, go back to just attacking. Now if they counter a lot, like every time they bounce off your guard, next time they do it, they bounce off, straight up ult or grab, whatever suits your situation the best. If they don't like countering, then, you know, switch attacking is fine. Now if they do like countering a lot, then baiting is the other option. If you watch the last 2 episodes, you probably know that you can also tilt. Because when they hit your guard, you can get out of the guard stun just by tilting. This way you recover even faster. For example, if you have someone like Pain, which I don't have right now, you can do this very fast and catch them off guard. If you have Madara, if you do it faster, you might be able to get them. But since they're bouncing off, they will get out of your range of this, you know, Susanoo. But if you do catch them, great. And also keep in mind, tilts can be countered. At least most tilts. The ones you can't counter, might as well spam it. However, decent players will catch on to the spamming of tilts. They will avoid it by doing other options. And just keep in mind, I'll be talking about the counters to these situations in the 0.5 episodes. But yeah, right now, attacking, switch attacking, waiting, grab, waiting and then attacking, or straight up ult. Those things are the things you can do right now when they bounce over guard. Now, if you're air dashing at you, first thing you can do is read it because it's so slow, and then counter it. This will very unlikely be successful, because most people will cancel it. If they're a new player, they might not, but if they are, you know, experienced in some sort of way, they'll cancel the air dash. So what do you do when they dash into you, actually into your guard? Well, very simple. Just attack. Like, they can't do anything. Like, doing this, I can't do anything for a long time. Like, you see, all that time I'm floating around and doing nothing? Yeah. Attack, catch them in a juggle, or even when they're on the ground. Like that. You see that time frame? There. So just attack, because their recovery frame is so much. Now the defensive section is different from the offensive section. This is because you dashing into the guard like this is different from them dashing into you, because doing this, you're still in the air, you're airborne, and same as when you dash into them in the air. But now on the defensive side, when you're on the ground and they dash into you, you're still on the ground, but when they dash into you in the air, you're in the air. Now that's different. And now I'm going to try and show you what you can do. First off, shurikens. Chocolate shurikens basically works for everything. Like that. As you can see, I'm doing a shuriken after he dashes into me. So as you can see, I can't really do a normal shuriken, so I have to do a chocolate shuriken. So that's the first way. The second way is dashing. If they dash into a guard, you can dash back at them like this. However, keep in mind this can be countered. So if they're countering a lot, make sure you just do the shuriken. So those are the 2 things you should be doing when your guard gets hit in the air. Some of you also might know you can air tilt. So as you saw, I did a tilt in the air. That's because my guard was hit in the air. So doing an air tilt is very good if you have someone who has a good tilt, obviously. For example, Pain. Very good range for the tilt, and you can also bring the enemy in. There you go. Those are 3 things you can do when your guard gets hit in the air. And obviously this will take practice to get used to doing in the real match. But once you do get used to it, you'll see yourself using it a lot more, and then actually getting something out of it. Thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to check out the 0.5 episode of this series so you can find out the counters to these, you know, situations, these responses. And also, if you haven't, check out the 2 episodes before this. Well, technically 1.5 episodes before this. And I'll see you in the next one.